Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Today we're asking engineering students what it's like to be an engineer. Let's get started.
My name is Max Skulski. I'm a civil engineering major and I'm in my junior year.
Hi, I'm Chris Flores. I'm a civil engineering major and I'm a junior.
My name is Verdiana Roman. I am pursuing an electrical engineering major and a minor in mathematics, and I'm currently in my sophomore year.
Hi everyone, my name is Franz. I'm currently a graduate student here at Manhattan College where I'm majoring in computer engineering. So I finished my 4 years and pursuing my master's. So this should give you guys a pretty good idea of how I feel about engineering.
Hello, my name is Craig Chambers. I'm a mechanical engineering student in my second year.
I'm Mallory. I'm a chemical engineering student in my junior year.
My major deals with construction and design of buildings, bridges, highways, environmental protection, stuff like that.
Well, there are multiple aspects to civil engineering. If you're a structures person, you're of course doing structural design, designing buildings, foundations, bridges, etc., etc. If you're on the environmental side, you're maybe testing soil, testing water, and there's a lot more overlap with chemical engineering in that regard, but yeah, you need to know a lot more chemistry for that.
My major focuses on mechanical machines, so to speak. It mostly focuses on engines, aerospace, but also functions within the building.
So, differently from chemists, chemical engineers modify chemical processes to make them better, more efficient, and more money efficient as well. I would say they also work on machinery, but it's very versatile field, so you can do a lot of different things.
Electrical engineers are in charge of the design, building, and maintenance of electrical systems.
We get a full scope of exactly what it's like to be a computer engineer, not only working with software, but also with hardware. And at the same time, you have the possibility to integrate both together, so you can be versatile in either programming hardware or software.
So, in high school, I took a lot of different AP classes, but the one that really was the hardest to me was AP chemistry. And I think the challenge of it really made me interested in chemical engineering rather than any other discipline. But I think it's really, again, a versatile major, so I can do a lot with it after graduation.
So it's kind of funny because my mom always wanted me to be a doctor, but I told her that that just was not it for me. So, but she had told me stories when I was younger, and I would always open up a lot of small embedded devices that I could get my hands on. If you guys remember the small Nokia phones, the ones before the iPhones, probably won't know what I'm talking about, but ask your parents, they will know. But I would open those up because I would be able to play games on there, and I was just this was really interesting. And that translated to me opening up my PlayStation 2 when I first got it. And because I was just fascinated about how I'm able to play games onto it. And just those small little things that I would do at that young age made me know that this is exactly how I wanted to go into doing this. And you see, 4 years and I'm going into my 5th, so I'm still loving it.
I was always interested in working with my hands and creating something, which is what led me to mechanical, to make new things.
Visit to RIT. They had programs there where they talked about different majors, and you got to experience some classes and talk to professors in them. And civil engineering stood out to me, so that's what I chose.
My favorite subject in high school was physics, and the one part of physics that really captured my attention was circuits, and that was something that I knew that I wanted to do further on.
So, summer after my senior year, I was lucky enough to work an internship with OmniBuild Construction, which is the largest private construction company in the New York City area. I worked in a project management office, and I just really liked how things worked there. I really liked the workload. I really liked sort of going around and making sure everything was in order on the project site. And I really felt that while I was working at the office, I was contributing something, contributing a building to the New York City skyline. So as someone who's always appreciated architecture, I really liked that. And I originally went in as a computer engineer, but that made me really rethink, and I switched to civil because of that, and I have no regrets.
Currently, I'm in the Society of Professional Hispanic Engineers, and as vice president, I help set up events. So we do like TED Talks, and we basically represent the Latin community in STEM because there is very few of us. So we just encourage other minorities to pursue this career and to let them know that they're not alone.
Any clubs? So here we definitely have like various like clubs for in our specific major, and even if it's not catered towards specifically computer engineer, like for example in the computer science department, every year they had a programming competition which is open to anyone who's interested into programming. So that's definitely one me and a few of my friends definitely participated on to like showcase our programming skills, along with learning how a technical interview would work out. Along with, besides that, our school, we definitely have organizations just like Jasper Bots. Jasper Bot. We have HKN when we do like events where we have small events that cater to helping like a lot of students like get familiar with working with microcontrollers such as Raspberry Pi, the TI, the Texas Instrument board, the Cypress microcontroller, or an Arduino board. So we have like those clubs catered to help you sharpen your skills using those microcontrollers, and so that you can have projects to talk about during interviews as well.
There's the ASME club, the AIAA team. They do a lot of like cool stuff and cool projects, but it's mostly for upper level, so I don't know much about that yet.
There are clubs for major. There's clubs like ASCE and DFI and CIONI, which you basically plan events to help other students meet professionals or have professionals at the school and talk about what they do in the field and help students get an idea of what they'll be doing, or maybe you can get connections with professionals.
Yeah, there are a few. One that I am part of is American Society of Civil Engineers. So that's basically the main overarching, obviously, engineering club that we have. They put on talks, connect us with mentors. Sometimes they run events for the children, the local children in Riverdale. And it's just a very cool experience to be a part of that. We've got the Structural Engineering Association. So they kind of focus a little bit more on foundations. They do trips to certain job sites, which also happens in the American Society of Civil Engineers, by the way. And we've also got the Water and Environmental Engineering Association, which focuses more on sewage treatment, chemicals in water and stuff like that, more the environmental side.
So yeah, there's a lot of different clubs for chemical engineering. On campus we have Engineering Ambassadors, which is a fantastic one, as well as AICHE, we have a chapter here, and SWE as well.
Classes are cool. We study important building materials for structures like steel, wood, concrete, stuff like that. Soil, which is very important in construction, design. The workload's not too bad. I know people hype it up, but it's really not that bad if you know what you're doing.
I would say I get a pretty good deal of work in every class. Now that I'm in junior year, I'm in 5 devoted engineering classes. You know, this is the meat and potatoes of the major. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing what I do, but there's a lot of long nights at the library. Labs are pretty cool. You know, I enjoy my fluids lab right now. But I would generally say, as long as you enjoy what you're doing and you're doing the major for a purpose, you're not gonna have a problem doing any of the work.
It's a lot of being on a computer. You know, for our engineering classes, we use a lot of programming, like C++, C, and even in our math classes, we use Maple and MATLAB, but it's a lot of fun.
Very hard. I would say freshman year, the workload was pretty easy, in my opinion. It was a lot of classes I already took in high school. But sophomore year, it kind of hits all the chemis like a bus, I would say. And we're all really struggling at the beginning. We're all struggling together. And I think once you learn how to transition from a regular science mindset to an engineering mindset, you're golden, but it really takes some time and a lot of work to get into thinking like an engineer. So that's definitely the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, the classes are not at all difficult. I like the fact that we get to not only learn all the conceptual topics in class, but we get to apply them within our labs so that we can see everything that we're learning from the textbook and the real world applications. So that's how I would say the classes or labs, you learn it in class and you get to apply it in the labs and you get a full scope of everything that you're learning.
Classes, you'll be taking things like thermodynamics, statics, a lot of calculus. The workload for those classes, it is pretty heavy, but it's manageable if you learn to apply yourself. And ironically, the labs are comparatively easy, so that's fun.
Well, last year I worked with Arduino, which is like Lego robots, and we used a program online to help move them and basically follow the commands that we tell it to.
Design projects don't really come along until about junior year, but when you get to that level, that's when you start designing real things that you could use for real world experience.
So different from other engineering disciplines, I would say that chemies, we don't do a lot of projects, we do more labs. So we definitely work in groups for lab reports. We've done a lot of distillation recently. I'm in Orgo too, so yeah, definitely more lab reports.
I did a pretty cool project in transportation first semester of sophomore year. We had to pick a couple streets and go out to them and analyze traffic flow and sort of use some statistics to build some traffic models for that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm somewhat interested in transportation too, not only structures, so I kind of enjoyed that. But there are a few projects.
One of the most exciting projects I've done so far was for my capstone design class. And for my capstone design class, we got to build a miniature radiation assessment rover. And this one was really cool for me because that was where I got to test out a lot of my programming skills, since I was the only computer engineer on the team. So I got to build a mini Bluetooth controller along with programming the various microcontrollers within the within the rover, which would be the brain of the actual machine, and control it from the controller. So that was really cool.
So far, I did research with one of my professors on tsunami debris impact, how far debris spreads when tsunamis hit and stuff like that, and how structures should be designed so that they can withstand that. No, it's easy. If you have a passion for it and you really want to study it, you're going to be fine.
Yes, very much so. I would say it's very difficult, but definitely very rewarding. And there's a lot more people than I expected who are willing to go out of their way to help you. And it's definitely very reassuring. Being at a small school like Manhattan College is very helpful to be with people who are also struggling the same way you are, to help you and have a great support system. So,
Yes and no, depends on the kind of student you are. I'm a very math-oriented person, so the calculations make sense, but sometimes you gotta wrap your head around them. Engineering is not only doing math, but it's also analytically looking at certain solutions, and it's really a mindset. So you need to build that engineering mindset.
Yes, it is. It's very difficult, but it's definitely worth it as well. So go for it.
Yes, engineering is a challenge, but here at Manhattan College, they always let it known that you are not alone. Teachers are always available to help you, and you'll always have a great group of people and friends to help you along the way.
To be very honest, it definitely is. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually really not. It's a field where you're definitely going to be. It will be challenging, especially when you don't know, when you're introduced to a new topic. But as with any major, you always have to work hard regardless. So it's definitely not a hard field as long as you keep pushing and surpassing your limits.
I've considered it a little bit, but not really in any serious way. Engineering has been hard, I found, and sometimes it does get pretty hard, especially close to midterm and finals week, and it makes you kind of doubt what you're doing. But I'm doing engineering to set myself up for the future, and I really do enjoy what I'm doing, so I'm willing to brave any headwind, I'd say.
Me personally, I've never thought of switching majors, but I've had friends who have debated that, and I've been able to help guide them into making like the decision that they would think would be best for them. But I personally have not decided to switch because, as you can see again, undergrad, master's, so yeah.
I did think about switching majors. I thought about switching to math because I have a passion for that. I really like doing math. But I also am enjoying what I'm doing here in civil engineering, so I decided to stick with it.
I've really never thought about switching majors. For me, like sophomore year, again, we started getting grades we all weren't used to, obviously, when the workload picked up, but in my opinion, I already got that far, and I already struggled so much that I wasn't willing to switch and put away all the work that I already put forth. So I would say it's definitely chemi all the way for me.
I have thought about it, but ultimately decided against it because, to be honest, engineering it's a really fulfilling field. Like, the feeling you get from completing a difficult task, it's always worth it.
I'm currently debating on whether I want to pursue my studies for my PhD degree at a top engineering school where I get to focus on machine learning and computer vision for my research studies, but still debating on that. But I'm also like planning on applying for a lot of entry-level positions for a lot of the top tech companies such as Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Microsoft. So looking at the big companies so I can see how I fare against my other colleagues who are also planning on doing the exact same thing.
That's a really good question. I'm not really sure yet. I have an internship lined up for the summer, so I'm hoping that fieldwork will give me some type of experience and direction to what I want to do after graduation. But I've definitely been looking into alternatives to industry like law and medicine as well.
Well, I've been interested into going into aerospace, like designing planes and that stuff. But if not, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, that's always a reliable field.
I would like to work as a professional civil engineer after college. I'm currently looking for an internship, and I would like to go into structural engineering if possible.
Well, after college, I really want to work in the aerospace industry, and I basically want to help design aircraft or satellites so that we can discover more what's out there than here on Earth.
Seeing how I'm going the structures route in engineering, I'm probably going to start with a structural engineering job, something entry level where I do AutoCAD and learn the tricks of the trade. I'd like to move into project management, seeing as I've worked that internship, as I mentioned before, and I would really like to get into the real meat and potatoes of project management, really be like at the top of a company maybe.
Oh yeah, I love this question. My major is so much better than all the others because we get to build applications that every other engineers use. So for a lot of the civils or mechies out there using AutoCAD, that's something that was made by a computer engineer or a software developer. So that's why I feel like my major is definitely better than the others. But all jokes aside though, all of the engineering majors are great. But I'm a computer engineer, so I have to be a little biased, so computer engineering.
Well, mechanical engineers, we get to design actual cool things instead of playing with dirt like civils. So.
Civil's better than every other engineering because you're guaranteed to get a job. You're always going to need civil engineers. People are always going to need more housing. As population grows. It's just there's job consistency. There's always jobs available. So civil engineering is where it's at.
Electrical engineers, we don't just have to be inside a laboratory all day and do research. We can go out there, and a lot of our work is hands-on, like in terms of wiring and even like software, like building technology. Like I feel like electrical engineering is a very diverse field in itself that you could easily go from one thing to another.
Chemie is definitely the best engineering major. I'm a little biased, but I have to say that because it's definitely the most versatile, and chemies can work in literally any different industry they want to. Cosmetics, petroleum, probably environmental, probably construction, biopharma, so many different industries. So definitely the most versatile.
I never said that. Don't put words in my mouth. I think that you should pick what you enjoy. And I love my major, don't get me wrong, but it's all about the person.
Choose electrical engineering because it is the best one. You can do so much with it.
You'll succeed if you work hard. Keep calm, Metcon.
My advice for you guys would be to never give up and keep on surpassing your limits. That's what I would say.
If you have a passion for engineering and you really want to do it, don't be scared to do it. It's not as hard as people say, and you're gonna have a great time.
I would say that if you're undecided about an engineering major, just choose one, go with it, get some internship experience, and you'll be able to decide down the line. And you're definitely not tethered to any different industry because after graduation, you can work in any industry you want to. So
You gotta know the type of person you are, and you gotta pick something that you know you're gonna love, because you're gonna be in it for the long haul. Now with engineering, you've got a lot of paths you can go. You can go into finance, you can go, because engineering is a mindset really, first and foremost. So you're not stuck with doing chemistry if you're a chemical engineer. You're not stuck with doing structures if you're a civil engineer, or doing environment, or whatever it is. Know that you love it, but it's really about the mindset, and just get hard in your head and get your work done.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you for joining us.
thank you for watching, and I hope you guys all enjoyed. Bye!
Now smash the like button, guys. Show some love in the comments.